Alright, so hi, I'm Connor Turnbull, and I've already been guiding you through some beginner steps into Fireworks. In today's screencast, we're going to be taking a look at a fifth feature in the form of behaviours. So behaviours are basically the feature that allows you to add another level of interactivity onto your prototypes. It allows you to actually set up some various effects, from rollovers to image swaps, based on user input, and this is all achievable without any coding. It's all achievable in Fireworks, and it allows you as a designer to actually demonstrate some functionality before you send it off to the development team. So if we actually load up Fireworks here, you can see that we have two black rectangles. We're just going to be working with black rectangles today. We're not going to be using a web design, although later on we will actually start looking at how to integrate these effects into your web designs. So in the first section of this, we're going to actually look at a very simple rollover effect. So as you roll over one image, it'll actually change that same image. In this case, we'll just do a very simple colour change. Alright, so now we're going to make a very simple effect. We're going to actually create a simple rollover effect, whereby you roll over the right rectangle in order to change its colour. In this case, we want the right rectangle to change from black to red. It's a very simple process, and we have three major steps. Number one is to slice up the document. Now, we can just slice up one side, obviously the right side, but I'm just going to quickly slice up both parts, because it's a very simple document. You know, your document's probably already sliced, so this may or may not actually be a step you have to take. Now it does actually apply this green overlay, or depending on whatever colour option you've chosen, it could be a completely different colour. But even though it is kind of changing the colours and defeating the object, we can still see we can still differentiate the two rectangles, because they do create different shades with the green overlay. Now we have to set up our states. So our states basically tell Fireworks what we want to be shown at different points. In this case, we've got a default state with the two identical rectangles. I won't refer to them as black now because they're not. And I'm basically going to duplicate the state and rename it to red, because in this time we want it to show up the red rectangle. Now, can I just say, for as a side note, I did duplicate the state there because I want the exact same contents on each state, but you can just add a new state and basically get an entire new canvas there, with obviously the slices still overlaid. So now, basically we have to actually set up the behaviour. So we have to select the slice which we want to be the effector, and then control click the two states. So I'm going to select that right slice, then control click the two states, make sure you are holding in control so you select them both, and make sure you are only selecting one slice, because that's important. Or of course you could be selecting a completely different slice, whatever you want, but in my case I've got these three different items. Then head to behaviours, tap this little plus icon here, and select simple rollover. Now you can see we've got various different behaviours we can add on later, but we'll get to them in a sec. So adding a simple rollover is very simple, and as we go to preview it now, you can see that as we hover over the right rectangle, it does indeed change colour. Success! Now, what we have to do is we have to check that nothing happens on the left one, because we didn't want anything to happen, we wanted that to stay static. Nothing happens around the slice areas, purely everything happens on that right rectangle. So I think we've got a successful behaviour there. Let's take a look at a more advanced one. So what we want to achieve in this next example is that as we hover over the left rectangle, the right rectangle will change colour. So we're pretty much achieving the same result as in the simple rollover, but this time it being affected by a different element. So we've got the exact same state set up. We've got a default state and a red state, and I've already sliced up the document, so we can see the two different ones. So we're going to set up in the exact same way, but this time we're going to select the left slice as our affecting slice. So make sure you got the left slice, or whatever element you want to make the effect happen on, and control click the two states. Heading to behaviours, this time we're going to select swap image. Now we get this additional dialog up. When rolling over the current slice, which is the left slice, swap an image in the slice chosen below. So in this case we want to swap the image in the right slice. Now we want to show the swapped image, which is currently in the red state, and we can choose whether we want to restore the image on mouse out. So in this case, when we mouse over the left one, it will change the colour in the other one, but we can select that whether we want to change the colour back when we mouse off that left rectangle. I'll just leave it like that. So now we've actually created the link. You could have done this too manually, but this is just probably an easier way. And as we go to preview this now, you can see nothing happens on the right one, but as we hover over the left one, it does in fact change colour. Now this time round we have this little drop down menu, so you can actually change the circumstances in when the right rectangle changes. So we can choose whether we want when you mouse over the left rectangle, when you mouse out of the left rectangle, when you click on the left rectangle, or when you load the left rectangle. So for example, clicking, pretty much the same effect, but this time we click on the left rectangle in order to change the colour on the right. So this could be applied into different areas. For example, you could have, like, say, buttons which change an image. So as you click on a button or you mouse over a button, the, say, hero image changes, which is an interesting method for different websites. I'm trying to think of an example on the fly here, but this is quite a useful behaviour. So let's have another look at another one. Alright, so in this next example we're actually going to just skip forward to one of the latter behaviours, and this is basically text of status. So we do exactly what we've just been doing before. We select the slice that we want to create the effect, but this time we're going to go down to behaviours, go to the plus icon and select set text of status bar. So this time when we hover over that slice, it'll display a message in the status bar of the browser window. Now if you don't know what a status bar is, it's that kind of like little bar at the bottom which might, display a loading bar or something similar, but this is actually display a message. So we can just do something like success, and that means that when we hover over this, it'll basically show up that little message for any circumstance you want, but it's available. And like we've just done before, we have different options of when to display that message. We can display it when we mouse over that, when we mouse out of it, on click, or on load. Now one thing I do want to note is that you can actually create some of these effects by using the behaviours handle. For example, I can select this slice here and drag it across to this slice and select swap the image from red. This will actually create that swap image behaviour up already without having to go into the behaviours panel, and it works just as normal. The second thing I want to point out is that there are a range of different behaviours available. You can use things such as set navbar image and set pop-up menu, for example. These are a little bit more advanced and something that I don't really want to go into today, because I wanted this video just to be aimed at beginners who are looking for the most simple behaviours. If you are interested in seeing some of these, then please let us know in the comments and we could expand on this in a future video or tutorial. So, as I said before, you can apply these same behaviours into a final web design prototype. Now, in this case, we want to change this about menu item into a red colour as it's hovered over. So we set it up in exactly the same way in this case, the simple rollover. We want to have a normal state and duplicate that into red. Swap the layers around, and I've got all my slices already set up. Select the about slice. Select both our states and add a simple rollover, and now it works just as we'd expect. So obviously you can add some more advanced ones with those set navbar items, but if you do have any items that you want us to cover, or if you do want to indeed see more advanced behaviours such as the navbar and the pop-up menu, please leave us a comment on this post, and hopefully I can take this as a bit of feedback and get back to you in future screencasts. So this has been an exclusive screencast. Thanks for watching.